If you've been watching the previous episodes of this Daily Art Adventure, number 243, I am finally back. I did all of the previous episodes yesterday, so it's a new day here, but hopefully that won't make any difference as you watch it. As the heading here says, I am doing my first layer of white, which is always one of my favorite layers. Let me show you again the references that I'm working from. Here's a printout of a photograph, typical bad photograph, and here's a painting that I've already done of this scene. Now some of you might ask, well, why are you doing the painting again? The reason is because I'm teaching a class on this tomorrow, as a matter of fact, and the students often like to know or have a hint about the subject matter they're going to paint before they come to the class. So we are going to do the photograph, the painting that I used in the promotional materials for the class is going to be, the promotional is the scene that we're painting. Did that make sense? That was just about as clear as mud, wasn't it? Anyway, here we go. This layer, phase, stage of the painting process is always, for some reason, one of my favorite. It's the first time that we've done, first of all, opaque color, and of course, it's the first time we've done white. And it's always just so fun to see the painting come alive. The essence of good painting, no, let me say that again. The most important aspect of a painting is play of light. And this is the first time that we really start seeing some of that play really coming to pass. Everything up until now has been sort of theoretical. Yeah, we're going to do light on this, but we're not doing it yet. Well, now we're doing it. Yahoo! And I'm looking at both the photograph that I showed you a moment ago, and I'm looking at the print of the painting. So I'm using both of those as guidelines for this. Now, let me make sure that you understand, if you're one of my students, we are painting things that are light with an L, not things that are white with a W. Okay? We're not focusing on white things, even though we're using white paint. And that some students seem to have a hard time kind of grasping that concept. We're painting anything that is light in value, not just things that are white. The white that I'm putting down, all of the white that I'm putting down now, is going to be covered up. In fact, it's going to be covered up a couple of times, perhaps as many as 3 or 4 or 5 times with transparent colors before the painting is finished. So certainly we are not doing things that are white. We're doing things that are light in value. Big difference. Now my sky up here, as you can see, is already quite light, so I don't feel the need to... Sometimes I do quite a bit of white in the sky, but in this particular painting, not needed, not necessary, so I won't do it. Another way to describe my painting process is that each layer, each phase, each stage of the painting process covers up a slightly smaller landmass, fewer acres. I'm being silly, of course, it's fewer square inches, but each layer covers up a little bit less area than the layer before. Now, the exception to that, of course, is when we do great big glazes. Then, of course, we're covering up a lot, but you'll see that fleshed out for you in just a few minutes, because the very next thing we're going to do after this phase, the very next thing we're going to do is glazes, especially glazes on top of this white stuff. I want my
this white to be like everything else. I want it to be very loose and energetic. That's what you saw me doing just a minute ago with those diagonal swooshes. This is light. Light here is coming from the right, of course. Sun is this. We're looking south in this scene, and the sun is going down to our right. So this is sunlight hitting the pavement between trees and buildings and so forth. For those of you who are perhaps familiar with Raleigh, I should go ahead and tell you, where's this view taken from? Anyway, the answer is, if you know Logan Trading Company, if you know Logan's Trading Company, this is half a block north of them in a sort of out-of-the-way industrial parking lot, kind of one of those nondescript lost parts of the city, like that nobody ever goes to. That's actually owned by the Burlington Northern Railroad Company. So that's enough of an explanation. In fact, I went back there again just a little while ago, a couple hours ago, to take another photograph, which will help my students a little bit as we paint this scene anytime. Just about done here. One of the things I'd like you to catch a vision for, if you're watching these videos too, is how short each, until I get to the very last layer, which takes quite a bit more time, but every underpainting stage actually goes by pretty quickly. Really does not lasting long at all. So I'm now done with layer G. These lines are a little bit harsh. You can take a brush. There we go. Much nicer, much nicer. Good trick. You have to do that kind of thing before the painting dries. So if you're going to do this swooshy thing, you have to do it fairly quickly. Isn't it funny how almost any mark I make with that kind of energy creates a good-looking mark? Okay, that's enough. I'll be back in just a few minutes with part GH. Thanks for watching. Be back in a few minutes.